good to
Is this
see
live?
you.
Are people watching live?
No, no one's watching live. No,
okay.
I don't trust you enough.
Love that.
We've just been like gallivanting away prior to starting. And so I'm so excited to have Andrew on. He actually like reached out to me and was like, I want to do this with you. And we met at an event, I feel like years ago. You're kind of like market adjacent. I know home base for you guys is like Triad of North Carolina, correct? And you have a bunch of different like expansion markets as well. So Andrew, like tell us a little bit about like just your organization, who you are in real estate, and then I'll kind of go from there with some leadership topics. But I'd love to get some context of just like who are you and why are we friends?
Yeah, great. Well, first off, I'm not really sure why, but we are, and I love it. So, but yeah, we met at a Phil event, an AI event. Amber was kind enough to invite Amy, my business partner, and I to speak on a panel. And we had just done, I was helping some friends in Fuquay, and one of the agents that's on your team, Megan, I believe, we had just done a deal. So I had seen your name. I think you had seen my name. And then we were at this event, and then we've just kind of been, I guess, friends ever since.
Yeah, it's like real estate friends. You know what I mean? Like I do feel like if I categorize my relationships, like real estate friends are kind of like different because I feel like we're always very busy. So we interact a lot like on social media, which I know sounds a little vapid, but like it's not, because like I follow all the things that you're doing like all the time. I know more of what's going on with you than I do like people that I probably should know more things about. So I call it real estate friends.
I love that though. We've talked about like, hey, we're gonna be around. Let's go do this, and it's like, we never get around to it. But we're busy, and it's just I'm gonna sum this up really quick. Real estate was never like on a dream board of mine when I was growing up. My grandfather, my dad ran a textile business, so I did learn a lot about dealing with people at an early age, which is one of the most difficult things I think we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And, somewhere along the way, somebody said, I think you'd be good at this. And I took them up on it and started with a builder, DR Horton, which is where I met my, I think we're all familiar with old DR.
Mm-hmm.
Great training opportunities. My sales manager there is still the sales manager for the Triad, Liz Small. She's fantastic. Love her to death. It's where I met my business partner now. She was my sales trainer. Like the fact that she met me at that point in life and still wants to be 50-50 business partners with me blows my mind. But here we are, 14 years later. She went to Keller Williams for a year and was, just kind of reached back out to me and said, hey, things are going really well. I think you would enjoy this side of things more. I'm not a very corporate guy, if you couldn't guess. Nothing against D.R. Horton. It's a corporation, and things are ran a certain way, and like that's I respect it. I respect it now more looking back on it, but that's just that wasn't me. And so we started a team at Keller Williams. I was her buyer's agent. This was 2015. Long story short, I was a TL for a little while. Recruiting was not my thing. So for anybody that knows what a TL job is at KW, if recruiting is not your thing, you're in the wrong room.
In the wrong seat.
Yeah. That being said, the other things that I learned being able to, go to Austin, like you talked about, be in some of these rooms with incredible human beings that I'd never had the opportunity to, really was eye-opening to me about how important it is to be surrounded by folks like yourself and just people that want to grow and get better. So got back into sales, partnered right back up with Amy. And 2021, we analyzed 3 different ways to take our business. How would that look staying with KW? Still have nothing bad to say about them and that business, and Gary Keller, he's a legend. What would it look like transferring over to, and these are no ploys for any company. It's just kind of our journey. What would that look like going over to EXP? I have a high respect. I don't know that you can respect KW's business model and not respect EXP's.
I completely agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know how you can knock one and not the other, or love one and not. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. But I get the competitiveness, whatever. Or my business partner Amy's goal, her dream was always to have her name on the side of a building, and so we analyzed those 3 things. Her dream won, which was great. Here we are, 5 years later. We've got our main office in Greensboro. We have a small satellite office in Raleigh, Asheville, Durham, Danville, Virginia. I'm working on getting my South Carolina license. We're going to have a little small operation down in Charleston. Looking forward to that. I've got some agents here that are going to be moving there and want to kind of take the brand with them, which I love. And we have about 50 agents that broker at the firm, and we have a nice little tight-knit family, and we love it. And we love the opportunities that it brings to kind of still be a small fish in a big sea, kind of like a more boutique brokerage, but we still have a lot of, we still bring a lot of the big tools that the larger firms and brokerages try or work to provide, and we know how important that is. But yeah, that's kind of our journey and where we're at.
I love it. So I'm going to ask you a question that I start off with all of my podcasts. And like by all, I mean the one I recorded last week and this one. So like very comprehensive library of recordings.
Got to start somewhere.
100%. You just start. My question is, and this is what I'm always interested in people, is because we know there's like amazing real estate agents that can sell tons and tons and tons and tons of homes, and they service their clients really well. And obviously I know that in order to do that, there is leadership in you because you are leading clients through transactions. I think there's like a mystification around like brokerage building. I call it team ridge building, right? Because I really think that's kind of the model that we're all moving into, is like sales teams are starting to look and mirror a lot like brokerages. I know you guys are independent, but I know the initial startup was you guys like looking at a sales team model. So, not all agents that are highly productive step well into like the team leadership roles and the building and the systems and the processes. I don't think that it's saying one is better than another at leadership, but I think that there is a point where we see ourselves as leaders. We had the skills before, we were using the skills before when we were client facing. But when was it for you that you kind of looked in the mirror or had that introspective moment and you were like, I'm a leader? Like, when did that happen in relation to like your real estate career? Not like when you were in the 4th grade and you were asked to be the line leader. Like, where was it in your real estate like development journey that you were like, like this is now the hat that I'm wearing?
Yeah, it's a great question. And for me, I think it kind of happened organically. And then it just became a part of who I was, and it was energizing for me. So whether I was really great at it or still, I still feel like I have imposter syndrome, have a lot to learn, and helping these people grow their businesses and like feed their families, which is kind of crazy to think about. It started, we went through some leadership changes in the office. So I didn't really know what great leadership looked like at the time. I kind of felt like I knew what poor leadership looked like. And a lot of incredible people around us at that time. I just think there was a bad hire made. I'm not going to say any names. Love people as individuals. And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that I didn't appreciate that person, but from a leadership role, were they the right person to run a 150 person brokerage? Right. And I didn't like that. Anyway, I'm really elaborating here. We went through some office turnover that my business partner, some of the other ALC members didn't like. We were losing some agents, and not to other brokerages. We were losing them to another Keller Williams 10 minutes away. Right? That hurt. And that really, really hurt. And bless my business partner's heart. I love this story. We're at an awards banquet, and 2 of our people that we love that have been in the room with us for years weren't there because they were moving. I just remember, I call her Mighty Mouse for this scene. She like armbarred our operating principal at the time against the wall. It's like, if you don't make some leadership changes, you're gonna lose this office. And I went into work the next day a little hungover. It was a party. Yeah, there were some emotions there, And that principal, who still have a ton of respect for, I learned a lot from her. She was sitting on the couch in our office and was like, "Hey, I hear I need to make some changes, and your name's been thrown in the hat a lot." And I was like, "I'm like still way too drunk to taste this chicken right now." But,
Those
sure,
great moments often show up.
yeah, it was just like, I walked in, I was like, she's on my couch right now. Like, I wanted to shut my blinds and really have a moment. So she's like, "How do you feel about that?" And I was like, "Well, hell, why not? I'll give it a shot." I knew nothing about it. I knew nothing that went into it. She hired me on the spot. I then took the KPA. I bombed it. And it's funny that you asked that question. I say all that to come back to this. When did I know that when I bombed that first KPA, that KPA basically said I was not a good team leader. I was not a good fit, right? My personality. And enough people were like, we don't think that's a true depiction of who you are. We want you to stay in this role. 6 months later, I had to retake that because corporate stuff, like, I needed to fit the mold behind the scenes as well.
Sure.
And the top 10 metrics were all 96 or above. So I went from bombing it to being in the role for 6 months, learning about myself, learning more about leadership, learning more about people. And so I think there's an adaptivity level to that as well. So was I born a leader? I don't know. I got fortunate enough to get put in a situation, fell in love with a lot of the things about leadership, the one-on-ones, the emotions, the watching people succeed. Again, recruiting wasn't my thing. But, having somebody come to me and say, "Hey, like, here's where I'm at. How are we going to, like, problem solving?" That's one of my biggest strengths, is just getting in the trenches and problem solving. Taking an issue and figuring out a way to make it better for that person and for the people around them. No matter how big or little that is. And that's what I fell in love with, the problem solving and creativity side. That's my brain. That's what gets me up in the morning. I may not always be the best at it, but it's what energizes me. So it's what I think, that's where I term success. Right? I would be a great cold caller. I've never made a cold call in my life, by the way. I know it. I can do the scripts. I've done it. I've taught it, even though I've never done it. Right? I've taught it, but I've never done it. The last thing I ever want to do is make a cold call. It's not energizing to me. So I don't consider myself successful at that. I hope that answers it, because it's such a
great answer. It's a great answer. And we've been talking this quarter a lot in our organization about energy. I actually had our team try to define what energy was for them the other day, because we, in real estate, we have a lot of buzzwords, and like scaling and leverage, and like there's just all these words that I feel like you hear, especially in like coaching environments, like, that just get thrown out. And I feel like so often, like, no one really understands like what any of it means. It's just words that, like, are trending. And so we've been talking about energy a lot lately, and we've been talking about capacity. And this is so interesting, because I think this is one of the key components to how do you grow as a leader. I think you have to grow capacity. And what I think people think is, well, capacity it'll come as I do more. And I don't disagree that you have to stretch, right? Because it's like a balloon blowing up. But what I feel like causes burnout, and I think this is where leaders can persevere through the burnout, and that's what allows them to get on the other side, to be able to turn around and say, let me take you along with me, is we understand that burnout doesn't come from just like doing more. It's just really, where does that energy go? And so when you said energizing, you said it 2 times actually. Like, for me, that's exactly it. Like, I get energy out of the problem solving. I get energy out of coaching. I get energy out of making our business inevitably better, so that their business becomes inevitably better. And so I just think that's really interesting that you said that word, energizing or energy, because I do think that's at the heart of what we do. If you don't get natural energy from being in this leadership seat, I think it's really hard to say, well, I've read the John Maxwell books and I know the personality stuff and I can just make it work. And again, I think it's like, it's not a mark of success being a leader. It's just a mark of having a different skill set, and having energies in different places than others do. Because I can tell you now, I don't have the energy that some of my agents do to do the work that they're doing, because it doesn't bring me the same amount of energy. Not one is better than the other. It's how do you work, together. But I do think that, this podcast is built around, I really want to inspire agents that are looking to step into leadership roles to understand, what makes a successful brokerage owner, what makes a successful team leader, what makes a successful production partner leader, like what are the things that you need. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. You have to be energized by problem solving. You have to be energized by seeing other people become inevitably better and have a lot of passion around it. But that we never had anyone put the hat on us. We had the hell why not moment that you just said happened on the couch the morning after an award ceremony. Because that was the same thing. I just had someone walk in and be like, I want to join your team. And I was like, I don't have one, but like, the hell why not? Like, well, sounds good. Let's do it. Those are the moments that really that shape the leadership, I think.
For sure. And I think it's, you mentioned this before we got on the recording. You were talking about how some of the rooms you're in, there's a lot of particular companies that are run, lead heavy ways. Right? I'm trying not to name drop a bunch of different companies and everything. I don't want to piss anybody off if they run there, because there's so many different ways to be successful, which is kind of where I'm going with this. And one of the things that we really learned, and it's in our mission statement about, kind of curating per the person, right? There's so many different ways to lead gen, be successful, be a leader, help people be creative. And what we learned in our biggest moment of growth, we onboarded about 18 to 22 people in a 3 to 4 month span. We weren't even that big. So we had to change all of our systems overnight. Shout out to my business partner, Amy, and our right-hand person, our COO, Ashley, because that's not me. I can throw a bunch of random words on that whiteboard.
Wait for it.
Yeah, exactly. but the execution of it is where, like, that's me. We're going to do this and this and this and this. And it's like, okay, well, what do we do now? And I'm like, I don't know, but we do that, right? I don't know how to. So and that's what I learned is, like, I can go to an agent and coach them to, what do you say, 30, 36 deals. Then it's time to grow. Then you're time to hire. You're leveraging, right? And then, are we, another big buzzword, are we using AI? Is our boyfriend Claude, or are we still stuck with our old spring fling ChatGPT? I think I'm about to break up with ChatGPT, by the way.
She's like so I have them as like, they're sexed for me. So Chat is a girl, and she still knows my voice a lot better than Claude. So we've been talking about this so much, like, so I still find myself, when I want to organize my thoughts into more of like our story brand style, like marketing, like Chat does that at such a higher level, because she's spent so much time listening to me talk. For anyone listening to this, do not type into your AI, use your dictation and just like speak to it so it hears your natural voice. But the things that Claude does for me as a very systems-based person is like, it has been mind-blowing the last few weeks. So this could be an entire episode on itself. But like 100%, like people are so tied up on like all of these things that
I have to do it. I've yet to even type in. I have not even typed in the word Claude. Well, I take that back. I have told ChatGPT in a moment of anger, like, if you don't give me what I need you to give me, which you have given to me umpteen hundred times. I'm gonna shut you down, and I'm gonna go over to Claude right now.
Allison and I said we thought Chat might be getting a little stupider, because
I think it is
using the platform. But I also, Colton Whitney, one of my partners and friends out in California, said that he thought there was some things going on with Claude. So yeah, I mean, we're at a place, I know it's like a tangent, like my board right there is like, it is very much like, how do we wipe out every single thing that we have? I learned to scale by just breaking stuff fast enough to figure out what mattered and what didn't. One of the things that I feel like you talk about, and this is like the subsections of leadership. Like, I want to be a leader, but then you get caught up in conversations constantly around, What CRM are you using? What's your signing platform? How do you handle this? Like, who puts your, like, there's so many of these little details. And the thing that blows my mind is, despite all the things that have changed in real estate in the 10 years that I have been in, a lot of the things have not. Like, the CRMs look very similar with very similar capabilities. I think it's insane. We're spending $950 a month. I know, because I just paid it this morning for Dotloop to have a signing platform that at the end of the day, the only thing it actually does for us, truly the only way we use it, is just capturing signatures. That's crazy. It's crazy. We use Slack for internal communications. We use Sisu for transaction management. Like, we have all of these things, like with Claude, with what's coming. Like, I'm planning to burn the whole thing down and literally building something that is exactly what our organization needs based on who we are and what we do, because we are, like, we know now who we are and what we do because we've spent time introspectively learning it. Where do you see all of this going? Like, I'm not saying tell me how to do it. I'm saying, where do you, visionary, see all of this going into the real estate landscape? Because I'm very, very interested in this, and I think a lot of other people are too.
Yeah, I'll wrap my last thought. It piggybacks right into that.
Mm-hmm.
All of, we just changed CRMs. We talked about that. And I was, we went back to something we used before for the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
We needed simple, right?
Yes, because simple scales. You cannot scale without subtracting.
And it was like, this CRM is really good at being a CRM, and the website that we're integrating is really good at being a website. The website's not trying to be a CRM. The CRM is not trying to be a website.
The multi-tool. Right? It's called, I think it's the trap of the multi-tool, right?
Yeah.
You don't take a multi-tool to put crown molding up. You take a miter saw to put crown molding up. You don't take a miter saw to go fix a plumbing issue. I think that is it. It's like everything tech-wise is trying to be everything to everybody.
Yeah. And you just wouldn't really get good results.
You could look like an idiot.
People just don't let me do those things in general. So when there were so many times when early in my leadership, I read a book, or I did this, or I learned that, and it was like, all right, this person sits in front of me. They want to go here. That's their goal. And I immediately start teaching the book. And what I found myself doing is not listening to what their goal is. And I'm going to go back to an agent we have here who's one of our best agents, and I hear this all the time. I see it on Facebook. It's like, well, this is a good agent. This is a great agent. And it's like, I know agents that sell 100 houses a year that if I was going to hire somebody to sell my house, I wouldn't even think of texting. Like, I would run from them. Mm-hmm. And there's an agent here in my firm, I'm not going to say names. She sold 8 houses last year. Mm-hmm. That was her second year of real estate. Her first year, she did 0. So growth, it's crazy. Yeah. That was her goal. Her goal was to sell 8 houses.
Yes.
And she hit her goal. Her goal this year was to do 12.
Yes.
She didn't want to scale up to 40.
No.
So when I'm sitting down with her and I'm talking about what's right for her, I can't walk into that meeting thinking this person wants to scale their business to 40 transactions or grow a team or grow a brokerage. Her goal is to do 1, maybe 1.5 a month. I'll able to have, so you get my point. And she just wants to do that to the best of her ability and take care of her clients to the highest level. She does her own paperwork, and that's fine. She can with that amount of transaction. And she is a fantastic agent, happy as shit, loves showing up to work, and it's just a beautiful human being. And the moment I realized that that person at our brokerage deserves the same level of care and coaching and listening to that the person that walks in here and wants to scale and grow a huge business, which if that's what they want to do, I want to get in the trenches with them too. In my opinion, they deserve the same amount of attention. So when you ask a question like, where is all of this going? I think it's going to circle back to the basics. I think we are in a landscape of a business where social media has brought us even more to the forefront, and from influencing to AI, to selling courses, you name it, to the whole, I could call him for hours about how stupid I think this private listing battle is.
Yeah.
Personally, and how it has zero effect on how, let me make sure my wife's not dying. Oh, look at that. She needs to go to work and I have all the car keys.
Wait, let's say it a little louder for the bag. This is leadership.
Yeah. Well, love you, babe.
Then
She's gonna. This is a tough one. This is. What do I do now? I'm gonna keep going with this call, and she's gonna get mad at me, but she's gonna respect that she got to stay home for an extra 30 minutes because she's an independent contractor and she can do that. Shout out to her. Anybody needs book work done, she's fantastic. I think it's going to circle back to the basics, right? And I think that I had this aha the other day. I was sitting with a new agent. She's done 1.3 million in volume in her first 6 months, which I think is fantastic in our market right now. She comes from a real estate family and married into a real estate family. I love her dearly. I travel with her. Her mother-in-law and sister-in-law are who got me into the business. I'm very, very close to this person. So obviously I want to see her succeed at such a high level. And we sat down and we were talking, and, I got my little board over here and I'm writing stuff down, and I'm like, I'm trying to be this just like, oh, have you do this? Have you done that? And it just came back to one word, and it was structure. And she was like, I love doing open houses. To me, that's a comfortable way for me to show up. And we can all say, hey, sometimes you got to get uncomfortable, get all that. But she's like, I just need more structure. And I just asked her point blank. I was like, well, take me through your open house. Like, what do you do? Not take me through the 3 days before it. Take me through the day of it. And then almost more importantly, take me through the 8, 10, 12, 3 months, 8, 10, 12 weeks, 3 months after you do that open house. And the aha I had is I can sit there and tell an agent like, hey, you need to do this and this and this and this, and then afterwards do this. It's just a structure play, and it's so simple. Like, okay, write this down. You do a post, you do this, you go door knock, you hang 20, whatever it is for you, whatever makes you successful. And then you go do the open house. And then before you leave, you follow up with the people that potentially could be warm leads that don't have agents, or however you want to do that. And then before you leave, you plug them into, we're back at Follow Up Boss, so I'm going to say FUB. So you plug them into FUB, and you put them on an 8-week open house follow-up system. And then as soon as that, you trigger them into a long-term nurture, right? That's a structured plan. I know you love that because you're a planner, but that's so simple. That's it. In the reality of things, it's so simple to do.
Yeah.
And as a brokerage, we can create that for them in 30 minutes. We've done it. So I can sit in a room and I can talk about all this stuff like AI and Claude and this, and you got to be here and you got to be doing this and you got to be filming content. And I'm a huge social media guy. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not. You got to be doing this and this and this and this. But if you're not doing the simple things that created successful real estate agents to begin with, like, you are missing the boat somewhere. And I think that when all this circles back around and all these shiny coins and all this AI, they're going to make people like your lives easier, because you're going to learn to use them in your business that you already have. How do I take what I've got, use this to give myself more time back?
Right.
Versus how am I going to take this and get 100 more deals?
Right.
I don't think you're going to get 100 more deals.
Right.
But you can get time back, which is where somebody like I think he's going to succeed. I've gone way off tangent here. I think we're going to.
I think this is really relevant to people. And we went through yesterday on Empower, and we talked about Donald Miller's story brand, which is a marketing strategy that puts, it poses the customer as the hero, essentially, which is what real estate agents, I think, get wrong, because we think sometimes we're promoters, right, of ourselves. So that's why you see all the just sold posts and this is our volume and this is what we do. When reality, the messaging should be, what the hero of the story is the consumer out there. The problem is the one that we identify that they're having, that we can now come in as a guide and solve. It fits every movie script you've ever seen. There's a hero, who has a problem, who meets a guide, who gets a plan of action to help them avoid demise and end up in success. Our brains understand story in that capacity. And so Donald Miller's marketing strategies are based around that. What we were talking about is that there is a passive voice that we use. And most of the time, agents are bad about their passive voice being more of what we do on one-to-one. So thinking about your agent in the open house, she probably loves it because it gives her human connection, right? She's in front of somebody physically. She can feel their energy. They can feel hers. Agents usually in that moment can show that they have high empathy, right? That they are someone that, like you said, I don't want the producer doing 100 deals a year. I want my girl doing 8 who, I know is dialed in and has a high passion for service. I think agents have natural empathy for people. I think that's why we get into the business, a lot of them. The second piece of that, though, is more of authoritative voice, which is, hey, I am qualified to do this. I do have a track record of success. The hard part is agents miss that a lot of times. They'll be very, very direct and they'll be forthcoming with that voice of authority. And they'll be very secondary on that passive voice of empathy. And even worse, in my opinion, we're really good at one-to-one in the empathetic voice. And we're really good at one-to-many in that authoritative voice of just sold. And here I am. And look at how successful I am. What I think we need to figure out is how do we get good at one-to-many on the passive empathetic voice that we all have, that I just don't think agents are tapping into to the capacity that they can. And that's exactly, I think what you're saying here is like, I think the AI stuff is going to allow us to find ways to get the one-to-many voice so that we can do things faster, get time back, have more opportunities. But I do think that agents have to understand that your superpower and what is going to keep you in business is your ability to have that human connection and to have empathy be your item of value. We just have to learn how to be more, I think, authoritative with that and be more passive with the things that you're seeing in marketing today and what we're, even from the coaching standpoint, what we're saying, you got to know, you got to have this and this tech and this, that. So I think that's exactly what has been on my mind the last week or so. And it's interesting how it touches so many different elements. It touches the marketing, it touches the business strategy, it touches the business planning, it touches the technology that you use. But I do think agents listening, like, this is somewhere where you get it wrong. You're really good. And that's why you hear agents say all the time, if I can just get in front of them, if I can just get in front of them. How many times have you heard that sentence? If I can just get in front of them.
A few times.
It's all the time. It's all the time. It's why I didn't make cold calls. It's why, because I needed them to read my energy. The thing now is we have to use, I think where we're going, especially with the AI and the content creation, all the stuff, is you just need to use that to amplify exactly what you said, the basics. And the basics should be your ability to connect with humans. And that is where you will always, always, always win, I think, is people are craving humanity more than ever. We know the information age is upon us, but people, you can even see it on social media now, they're showing up so much more vulnerable. I shared this with you before we started. We're sharing our failures way at a higher level, I think, than we ever have on a very big platform. And that's what people are eating up, right? The promotion age and the influencer age is a little dead to the information and vulnerability age. That's what people are looking for is that connection, because I think we're so deprived of it. Honestly, I really do.
No, I love that you say that, because as a consumer, I think as real estate agents, we sometimes get this wrong. We focus too much on what our peers think works. Mm-hmm. Like, what is this real estate agent going to think of my marketing? Yeah. Or what are they going to think, or keeping up with it? And we lose sight that the people that we're trying to connect with is our database and people that maybe we haven't met yet that have a need, a problem that needs to be solved, that for us as real estate agents is most likely real estate related.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's just how we have so many options on how and where and what we choose to run with our business. They have that many options on how they choose to do real estate, and that's not going to go away.
No, it's only going to continue to throw more and more options.
So when they're looking at social media or Google and our AI, which is, I know that more people are searching there than Google now, but all these platforms that we need to be on to have an opportunity to start a conversation or create a connection through those channels. If I feel like it's never been more important for them to see you as an individual and who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if that reduces your following, if your videos go from 4,000 views to 1,000 views, but the people that are watching them are truly vibing with you and they want to be in the room with you, I think that's more powerful than I have 100,000 followers and each video gets X. And Gary Vee, love him or hate him, he's spoken to that a lot too with the new algorithms. You can
I was just going to say, it's not you. Friggin' Instagram agrees with you, because now your follower count has nothing to do with your potential reach.
Zero.
Because I will have stuff popping up all the time, and then you'll go follow, and it's like it's an account with 300 followers, but their messaging is exactly what my algorithm says I want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
and you find yourself watching them.
Yeah, 100%. Everything is changing, right? Everything is changing in that capacity.
And I think that it's so important. If I portray somebody different on the internet and social media, and I make a connection, and that person connects with me because of who they see there, and then I meet them in person and I'm a completely different person.
Yeah.
What did I really accomplish? Right?
Yeah.
I didn't make a connection.
No. And I'll take it one step further than that too. So I had the privilege of working with Renee Rodriguez, who wrote Amplify Your Influence, really big, like, public speaking coach. And he talks about this, and I think it's another really important thing for real estate agents to hear and understand. He talks about incongruencies. That's the number one killer of influence, is incongruency. So if I sit here.
Hold on.
Congruencies.
What does that mean? I have a terrible vocabulary.
Two things are let me throw some more words. Two things are juxtaposed together, but they don't seem like they should. So my best example is, if I'm on a stage public speaking and I have this big booming voice and I really feel confident about what I'm saying and what I have to share, but I'm doing weird little things with my hands that tell you that I'm actually really, really uncomfortable, immediately you're like, what is going on with you? It's when you have two things that should not be in the same space together that exist. So we see it a lot with the public speaking. It's that thing, like you've maybe rehearsed vocally this big presentation, but you're walking on stage like a tiny little mouse. And the human brain literally sees that and goes, this doesn't make sense to me. It's the same reason why, just body language wise, Superman is a very, what is it? What is that? Symmetrical, right? Like our body sees things. We see the symmetry in that body versus a villain with like a more broken body style. So like literally, like our subconscious brain is taking in information all day and making judgments on it. And so an incongruency is when you see two different things and they don't line up and they don't make sense. It's not just that the consumer sees that and then the consumer is going to take action. It literally is diminishing your influence, and you are literally telling yourself every single day that you're not who you think you are, that you are not what you are portraying. And it will actually literally start to eat away any ability you have to have that influence. Authenticity is where influence will thrive, because you will be congruent. You will be in alignment. And so I think that makes it even more so that we make sure agents are building plans that are built around who they are and what their whys are and what their goals are. Because the second you try to put them into someone else's box, if it's not authentic to them, they're not just going to fail. Like, they're going to literally eat away any influence that they could have had on the population that was going to resonate with them, that was going to work with them. So I think it's like a double killer. Honestly, I think it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a really big statement that I think it's dangerous. I think it is, because it's keeping people from reaching maximum potential. And like that for me as a leader and as a real estate, like productivity coach, like that's what kills me, is that like you're making it 18 times harder to do something that's already actually really difficult.
Yeah. Well, to keep elaborating on that thought, if you walk outside and live so intentionally for who you are, life just becomes a little bit easier right off the bat.
Yeah.
The people around you want to be around you. You're not carrying fake conversations. You're not, you're not living with that. I don't know any fancy words, but you're not living with that, day to day of like, like, is this even who I am? And then you get in the car at night and you're just so drained, and you go home and you have nothing left.
Yeah.
And, for me, this is a huge, huge part of some changes that I'm trying to make around this conversation. Energy is like, I need to be able to carry it all the way through the end of the day. Like when I get home, it's really hard this time of year because I coach high school golf too. So it's like I do all this and I pour, and then my active service, and I tried community service and this. And what I found is I wasn't passionate about it, but I love golf. So I found my acts of service in golf, and I'm able to coach where I played in high school, and it's incredible. I love it. My wife hates golf season as much as she loves it because she knows how much positive energy it gives me. But like, she has to pick our son up every day from daycare because I've got practice. When I get home, that extra 2 or 3 hours of work I would have put into the office that I made a decision to go coach instead, I try to catch up on that. So a lot of times I get in my computer right when I walk home or walk in the door, and it's just like, I don't have any more energy to give away.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm giving energy away to people that I don't need to be in the room with, or something I'm not passionate about, or something that doesn't energize me, or anything other than who I am and what makes me happy, I'm going to be that much more depleted when I get home.
Yeah.
And I think that the agents, especially new agents, middle tier agents that are trying desperately to get out, they hear these conversations. It's plastered all over social media.
Yeah.
Y'all, seriously, you started the conversation with target words. Like these people that are selling courses, I'm not saying that they're not worth it in some value. The AI conversations, the conversations around, all the things that going back to the lawsuit, which ended up not really doing much different in North Carolina, in my opinion. If anything, it made us better.
Yeah.
But we spent so much energy on that, and this and that and this and that, and it's like, I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We said this word in that meeting. I talked about energy the other day, and this is what you're describing it so beautifully. I said, when you grow your capacity and the energy is filling that capacity, if you don't understand what drains you, you will live a life of what I call slow leaks. And I said, for me personally, I would rather live a life where my balloon gets completely popped and everything gets turned on its head and I can rebuild it back, than live a life of what I call just slow leaks, where the energy is just bleeding out places all day long. There is nothing more depressing to me than what you're describing, is that life of slow leaks, where you allow things to exit out that you could have reapplied into something that could have continued to grow, something that mattered so much more. That like, if you ask me my greatest fear, what's that meme where people are like, oh, I say spiders because I don't want to say what it really is. My greatest fear is living a life of slow leaks, where I have just slowly let energy just fall out in places that it could have served at such a higher level. It is like it's terrifying, right? Everything's terrifying me today. That's terrifying to me.
Well, first off, I am terrified of spiders. And now that you said the word in the office, like where are all the, like,
where are they hiding?
Everybody's like, oh man, what's the scariest movie of all time? I'm like, Arachnophobia, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
A town taken over by spiders, duh. Like a guy that has claws in your dreams, that's fine. Yeah. Spiders, no.
Spiders, not okay.
To your point, and I'll share my why, and it's changed a little bit over the years, but I always go back to just the word no and just controlling it. And I think that does come back to energy as well. The older I get in life, being more intentional with that word. As a younger, I didn't say it enough.
Yeah.
Somebody called, yo, we're partying. I'm there. Next day, my dad calls me, hey, do you want to go play golf? I'm so hungover I can't get out of bed. I said yes to something that I should have said no to, which caused me to say no to something that I should have said yes to. Spending time with my father, now when I'm 41 and he's no longer with us, was way more important 100%. Than any shot or beer that I would have drank that night.
100%.
Did I have a blast that night? hell yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I met a friend that I'm still friends with, and I can take positives from those. But when you let your energy leak like that, what I have found is the people that end up getting that deflation of you is the last people you would want to get that.
100%.
And the people that don't deserve it are the ones that are getting it.
100%.
And the older I get, and as my son grows older, nothing is more important.
Mm-hmm.
Like and there's so many people that I've met. I've lived in the same city my whole life.
Same. Yeah. Same. We're similar.
You go out in the community, people probably think you're the mayor. People know you. You've just grown up in that. You're integrated in it. You've made it a point to be integrated in it. You're passionate about it. You give back to it. I've gotten to the point where, like, if my wife sees a friend she hasn't seen in years, she'll get stuck in a conversation for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And bless her heart, you know, she doesn't want to be rude and get out of that.
Mm-hmm.
I see people that I care about, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with them. Maybe I see them in passing, I'm in the grocery store. I'm to the point where I give them a hug. Great to see you. Hope all is well. And I keep going about my business. And that's not me trying to be rude. If I want to catch up in life with that person, I'm going to set up an intentional time to do that. I'm going to do it that time and really be in that moment versus 10 minutes of forced small talk where they're probably like, I got shit to do. And I'm like, I got shit to do. Yeah. So it's just like, hey, love it. Good to see you. Saw your son got into Virginia Tech. That's fantastic. I want to catch up and talk more about that. I got to finish shopping. Have a great afternoon.
Yeah.
And those small little things add up throughout the day. And I think as leaders, it's difficult to do that, to bring this back to leadership.
Yeah.
It's difficult to do that because if 10 people come in and need 10 minutes of your time, nothing is more important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hard part, is figuring out when and how to give that time. When is that enough? And how to be intentional with it. Because ultimately, if that ends up taking 2 or 3 hours that we needed to give to ourselves or to the overall organization, because you have a lot of people that depend on you and your leadership and how you set them up for success. Same with my business partner and myself and Ashley and our whole administrative team and leaders in other areas. Like, that's super important to do, but it's also really important to be there for those folks that need to talk to you. And that's the internal struggle that I get. And you hit it. I've never thought about it as like air leaking. But it's true. It's like every single one of those conversations, just a little bit of air leaks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how do I bridge that? How do I do that? And it's a constant struggle, especially for people that are passionate about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think it ties back, because I want to tie everything back in so we haven't just rambled for 48 minutes, right? Because otherwise I'm a bad podcaster. But I think it goes back to that concept.
Joe Rogan does it for like 4 hours. And
I don't know how.
Like number one, right?
That I think it goes back to that. If you have something of value, and if you have a passion for solving problems for people, and if you're energized by leading, I think you do have to find that there is a lot of value in developing and growing a one-to-many voice, because the impact you can make. And that's why I think we love to see agents scale up their business, because we know the opportunity to serve more families and serve their community at a higher level, that the more impact, right? If you're doing it correctly, the more impact. And so I think it comes back to, we're in an age where we are not just real estate agents, we're also influencers, which is why half of our accountants are like, what the fudge is all this stuff in your box of expenses, right? Like we don't sell houses anymore. I think we have brands and we have lifestyle and we have influence.
And
how do we
I've said the phrase, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go.
I've said the phrase tech stack like 10 times in the last 3 weeks. And every time I say it, I'm like, do you even know what you're talking about?
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm with you. Tech stack? Tech stack? I know. I was teaching on tech stacks years ago. It is one of those things, though. I think you have so much to share with your community. And I think it is amazing. I have a sales organization of similar size, like we're right there at the 50 mark and growing in a couple different markets. And then the extra markets have been important because it's allowed me to go into a new area and say, hey, here's some new ways of looking at things. And we've learned a lot from that. But it's that one-to-many voice. And I think this is one of the things that sets great leaders apart is no one really trains you on how to do the one-to-many. Like I think you get really good at one-to-one because availability was your superpower for a while, as it was mine. So I got really good at the one-to-one because I was available for those conversations. At this stage in the game, though, it's how do you develop the one-to-many voice that has the same impact as one-to-one, but you're able to reach and expand and to do more and to also keep yourself from slow leaks and investing in places that are not expanding at a high level. And I think that, just looking at what you guys have built, like whether you know it or not, you're excellent at the one-to-many voice. And I'm going to give you the opportunity now to use that one-to-many voice and impact some people with what I know and love about you the most, because you have this like incredible consistency of posting really, I love you, but like really terrible jokes online. And that's like your thing. So I would just ask, like, would you wrap us up with a really good dad joke today, Andrew, and then you can go get your wife to work.
Yeah. Well, my favorite one, and I'm going to credit a friend. His name is Hunter. And this is,
Okay.
Hunter, if you ever watch this.
I was about to say, does Hunter want to be named in this and implicated in this?
No, yeah, he's like the funniest human being I've ever met.
Okay.
Like, how you talk to people and they're like, oh, Hunter, and like, yeah, I know Hunter. Like sometimes they're like, like I've never heard anybody not be like, Hunter is so awesome. He's just good. But he got me with this one a long time ago, and it's, do you want to hear my cat joke?
Yeah.
Just kidding. That's it. It's so
silly. It is funny.
I do want to, I'll end on this because about 6 months ago, and this, it goes back to everything we were saying. I knew that I wanted to show up on social media more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was chasing trends, watching videos. How do I do this?
Yeah.
And then one morning I woke up and I was like, man, branding's so important, and all the stuff that they tell you. And it's like, you're working on just being this unapologetic version of yourself, authentic, right? And so I went down this rabbit hole. There's an agent in our office that started doing like this small town realtor life. And it was a black picture with white lettering. There was no photos, and they cracked me up. It was like, if you go to the Dollar General, you're gonna see somebody that looks rougher than you. Or small town real estate is like dating. Everybody's just passing around the same person, and it's like, yeah. And I just thought it was hilarious. So I took that and I was like, what do I do? I live my entire life as one big joke. Like I told you, I live in movie quotes and songs. That's my autistic brain, whatever you want to call it, superpower. I can go an entire day and probably have every conversation somehow from a movie or a song. Yeah. And to me, that's kind of like embracing that dad joke style life. Just people look at me like, really, did you just say that? And then they kind of walk out of the room, and I'm still giggling because I just think it's hilarious. And then golf has been such a big part of my life. And then, obviously real estate. So I told myself at that point that I was going to show up on social media the best I could to be me. And that was, if you've ever seen it, I kind of coined all that. We got the deals and the dad jokes and the divots, and each of those alliterated words plays off one of those three things. So I told myself at that point that if I was posting to social media, it was going to speak to one of those three things about me. And that was it. Because I knew if I was showing up in one of those three facets, I was showing up the best I could for myself. Now, don't get me wrong. I use a lot of Google API ideas. I use a lot of SEO, GEO, AEO keywords in the descriptions. And I am trying to reach an audience with that. But my audience and what I've found in my career is my best clients that come back and we have a relationship are people that golf, people that are entrepreneurs, people that understand sales life, that also are parents, and they get how that life just kind of comes together. And what I've found is, honestly, the phone doesn't ring as much, because like it is kind of silly at times and gimmicky and weird, and I am. But the people that reach out about it, the people I see are like, man, I love your social. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So like, I would encourage anybody watching this. The moment I did that, I don't know if it helped my business. I don't know if it hurt my business, but I do know that I'm showing up on social media who I am at every post, and there's intention behind it. And I have a schedule. It helped me be more structured. And when people meet me, if they looked at my social for 2 months, reached out, we connected, I reached out to them or something, and then we get in the trenches in business, there's not going to be a whole lot of difference. They're going to be like, yo, that's the same guy we followed online.
Exactly.
There's going to be zero difference. And I think that is so important when you talk about one to many, right? This is who I am. This is me. And I love that about myself. And you're either with it or you're not. I've had friends that I love. They're like, oh, that post was cringe. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. I appreciate it. I hear you. I listen.
Yeah.
You know, if I offended you, hopefully I don't do anything too offensive, but if I offended you, I want to hear that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you asking that question. And that, you got to have fun with life too. I think, you know, as real estate agents, we tend to think we're helping people make these crazy big investments and everything. And it's like, yeah, but they're normal people too.
Yeah.
And it's stressful.
Professionalism. And we see the worst versions of people oftentimes. So you gotta be able to lighten it up. And I think people would crave that. I mean, I always say, like, if you could lighten it for them, like, that's really what you're providing is you're removing friction from what can be a very friction driven situation, right? Because especially in the markets that we've been in for the last 3 years. I will say this, I think in early entrepreneurship, there is just in life, like, there's a big drive that we feel that money is, you know, kind of what defines us as rich, right? So I always correlate rich with money. I then started to understand that wealthy really had to do a lot more with time, and how you could have control and power over, you know, like what you were being tossed around. Because I can make a ton of money and have zero free will and free time. So wealth started to be equivalent to time with me. And then, not that I'm overly wealthy, I'm just saying the next iteration of that, I think the next gate.
Let me get a loan, Ann.
I gotta put a roof on my house.
Excuse me.
So I think the next big gate that you're going to pass through, though, and I think you're describing this, and I've been here for a while, is it's alignment is really what is that, like, I don't know, like almighty feeling, because alignment automatically gives me my time back, because I'm not slow leaking and I'm not having to make things work. And so, you know, I think early on it's fine, chase the money. And I think then you start to learn through leverage and scaling and some systems and processes that you can start to get your time back when you have that asset in front of you. But I think once you get past the time thing, I think what really does lead to a feeling of going to bed at night and saying, man, I really do love, like, where I'm at and what life looks like, is, for me, it's the word alignment. And it's been my word of the year for the last 2 years. Because if we're not in alignment, it doesn't matter what money it could bring. It really doesn't matter what time it could bring back for me. It really is like that is what makes me feel like at the end of the day that we've navigated, and I've not led a life of slow leaks, because I've just constantly been moving the needle forward with people and with systems and with tech and with processes and with conversations and with opportunities that are in alignment with what, you know, I want. And, you know, we fundamentally change as people every 3 years. And so that's where I think alignment becomes even more important, right? 5 years, I think it's 5 years. I think entrepreneurs, it's 3. I'm not the person I was 3 years ago. I don't want the things that I wanted 3 years ago, nor 6 years before that. But I think alignment does come from, like, the big, hairy, audacious goal visions that you have, and how you see the world and how introspective you are. And so I would encourage anyone listening, like, look at that. Like, where are you out of alignment? Where can you get more in alignment? Because I think that trumps time. And I think it trumps, I can tell you, it definitely trumps money.
I 100% agree. The more leadership meetings we have as we continue to grow, fail, break, and try to get better, that word pops up more and more.
Yeah.
And I think this is the hard part in business is at some point your goals and your vision and your mission may not align with people that you've been aligned with for years.
100%.
And accepting that doesn't make them a bad person, it doesn't make
Mhm.
you a bad person, and moving on for the betterment of everybody in the room.
Absolutely.
It's a very, very difficult thing to do in friendships, family, work scenarios. And I won't go down that road too far, but it's an important word on so many different facets, and it's a tough one for leadership.
It is. It is. Yeah, 100%. But I think it's the one thing that you go back to and you look at, and it's a buzzword that I think you should spend time learning and understanding, not just see it on a social media post and be like, yeah, I love that. Like,
what's your buzzword you wish would die right now? Sorry, that's an
yeah, I really hate the way that we overuse leverage and scale. I mean, I think they kind of go hand in hand. Scaling is a little bit different. I just think that so many people have a conception that scaling is more. Dr. Benjamin Hardy put out The Science of Scaling last year. I think it's one of the best reads a leader and a builder could read, because the reality of it is at the heart of scaling is subtraction. And I think that's the problem with it, is that scaling is presented so many times as more. But really what allows you to scale is less. And so I just feel like it's getting thrown around like, you got to scale. And it's like no one understands that like what you have to do to scale is take everything back. And no one wants to do that. They just want to keep adding shiny object and call it scaling. And it's
I can't remember what his name is. But I went to like seven level team building training number of years ago. It was actually down there. I think it was in Apex or Cary. And the gentleman that was teaching the class stopped at what level 2 would be, right? And of course, I'm talking about the MREA book, right? That's
right. Yeah.
And he just kind of stopped right there, and he was like, "If you guys take anything from this class, I want you to hear me say that there is nothing wrong with level 2.
Mm-hmm.
Level 2 is some of the most profitable.
Yes.
The stress-free.
Yeah.
Maybe you, one other agent, and an assistant, or you and 2 assistants. Just, he's like, don't be of some of the most happy, most successful, most wealthy people I know live in here.
Yes.
And when we hear scale, like you said, it's always like, oh, well, scaling level 2 would be to get to level 7. Well, scaling level 2 can be, I'm working 45 hours a week. Is there a way for me to work 35? Like you said.
Correct. Absolutely.
To where I get more time back, whether that's to fill my cup or not deflate my air with things and people that I love. So I'll digress there. It's not always about adding more. Sometimes it can be taking away, like you said.
100%. And I think this is what we do. And I think when you said you're problem solving, it is for me, because over my left side here, I have my board of, it was 2021, 60 home sales by myself. The same year I had twins in end of January. Same year we moved companies. And I keep that up so I can always see it, to remember that the reason that I'm in the seat that I'm in today, and the reason that I'm here, is that I want to create the most ideal level 2 environment for real estate agents that actually want time back with their families, that want to be able to have a life that I couldn't have in 2021. Because I was so driven by, it has to be more. And the answer to all my problems is on the other side of more. But one of the things, when you get in rooms with really high producers, people that have gotten to the place where you think at that level, I'm going to be good. I'll never forget watching Elizabeth Riley, a 11-time EXP icon. I don't know how many tens of thousands of agents in her downline organization at EXP, the passive income. for me, like that at that level, right? Like you've done, like you've got it, like you're good. In the back of a car at an event, convincing a seller to please wait until she was back in Texas before making decisions on who was listing agent, who was going to choose for a listing agent. And her saying, I just don't feel like, I've earned and deserved and that this is real. And so when you have moments like that where you can see people on the other side, that it's never going to be enough. You're never going to come to that moment where you say, I've done it and I'm satisfied and it is good and I am done, if you are in true entrepreneurship. So for me, my job is, how can I make level 2? How can I make the leverage position of having the back-end systems, of having amazing transaction support, of having community, having all the things that I didn't have when I was building? How can I give that to agents so that they can do whatever they want with the time and the energy and the life that they get back? And I hope it's big, impactful things in the community and in the agent community. But if it's not, and it's just, they just want to sit at home and read a book, it was an option that I didn't have. And I want to be able to provide that option. And so I think that's it's so funny. That's leadership, being able to do exactly what you just said and say, level 2 is enough. It doesn't have to go further than that.
And I'm going to toot your horn. I
Please do.
Follow a lot of agents. I don't interact with all of them on a high level. Maybe I should. I don't know. But I do message you a lot. I do comment on a lot of your things. And it's for no reason other than you, old terminology here, but you practice what you preach. You're very, like, what you just said is you to a T. And that's how you show up online too. It's easy to see. There are a lot of people that can get in a room and say exactly what you said, but they're not really truly driven by those things. They've just found that if they can create them, it makes them money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, money's great. What you can do with the money is better. What you can do to impact others' lives is even better.
Yeah.
But I will say this, you truly care. And if you made less money, but you were able to do the same things you're doing, I know you would continue to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take me knowing you for years to understand that about you. And I love that about you. And for anybody that's out there, and this is a direct competition to how our firm is set up, because we're the opposite, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and say this. For anybody out there that's a new agent or an agent that's not quite where they want to be, maybe they're not in the room they want to be in, and you're out there searching, don't let somebody convince you that a team is not where you need to be because of the split or the money, or, oh yeah, that's great, but they're going to take X amount of dollars from action. Because I don't care if it's a 40, 60, 50, 50. Splits don't mean much to me. I know they do to some people. What is it worth? And when somebody partners with somebody like yourself and they truly get that portion of their business back in that time, and they're able to live in that level 2 where it's incredible and they can run extremely profitable, right? They don't have a lot of expenses. They have the leadership, they have the room, they have the people, they have the energy, they have potential lead opportunities that they wouldn't have, leverage, buzzword, that they may not have, or maybe they can't afford the quality of leverage.
Yes, correct, because we're pulling resources, right? We have incredible, people, because we are pulling your resources. I always say it's not a cut to me. It's a cut into the team. It's paying Ashley and Megan, our amazing transaction coordinators. We're about to hire in-house marketing, because our agents are bleeding out on, some of their expenses, as far as, we all know this, getting your photography done, your listing videos. If they are a sphere of influence here, they have a really good competitive split, but they also are responsible for marketing costs because we want them to own that. But now it's look, guys, we don't need to all be spending this one-off. We can come together, we can re-energize this money and hire someone that's going to be at your beck and call all the time. It's a resource I would have never had at that stage, right? That I would have killed for, because I could have literally saved money and gotten so much time and energy back.
And I love to hear that. And I think that that's incredible value. And when done correctly, is just as advantageous, if not more advantageous, to any agent starting their career, to scale their career,
100%.
whatever that may be, And so, yes, somebody that's looking at this, like, don't let somebody else convince you because they don't understand what a team really is or what the right room really is, or they're so spiteful that, oh, well, I'm not giving 20% of that to this. Like, don't let that person convince you that being in a room with somebody like Anna is, and this is not a plug because I'm on her podcast. I truly mean this, is not the right room to be in, because that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Yeah. And that person doesn't care about you. They're probably not any level of successful of who you want to be and where you're going to go. And I'm sure you can agree with this. Like, I'm not saying kick everybody out of your life that doesn't have some high level of success just because they don't. Some of my best friends that I love and would never not be in life with, if you broke down where they were at financially, they live paycheck to paycheck. But if you broke down more as a person, there's a high level of value, and that person's always going to be in my life, not because of anyway. Just that person's not who you want to be around. They're going to pull you down, and so yeah, I keep doing what you're doing. I think it's incredible. I love watching your journey. I'm still really mad at you that you bought that for sell by owner. True story. If anybody is still watching this or sees this clip, I was down there, at the time. I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in almost 5 months now, but at the time I was having a few with my brother. You get to chat, and we're gonna take over the world, right? And we're down at Atlantic Beach every year with family, and my wife loves it down there, and they've been going for 30 years. And he's a very successful person. He and my sister-in-law as well. They live in Nightdale, and it's like, oh, we're gonna buy this, we're gonna do this and this and this and this, and like, so now we're on Zillow, and where's the opportunities? And we were staying right down the road from that house, and I was like, man, that place looks decrepit.
It was.
But I bet we can work out some owner finance deal.
Oh, yes, you could
really, like, do some of this investing hacking, then blah, 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 blah. And then like 2 weeks later, I look on your Facebook and you bought that house and did exactly, I don't know exactly, but kind of the same thoughts.
Probably better. It's a pretty good deal.
I texted my wife and brother-in-law, and I was like, son of a bitch, I told you we should have done that. But at least it's somebody cool that I like. So every time I drive by that house, like, I cuss you.
Thank you.
In a very, in the most positive way somebody can be cussed.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're a rock star, and I love what you do, and I love how you do it, and I love the reasons that you do it for. And I'm very, very humbled and gracious for you to have me as your second guest on your podcast.
Absolutely. 100%. Thanks for giving your time. Go get your wife to work. If you guys want to follow Andrew, I'll make sure I get his social handles so you can always get a dad joke. Can you leave us with just one more before we say goodbye?
Let's see here. I printed out some new ones.
Oh.
Let's see. These are all real estate related though, because ChatGPT just like can't understand that I don't care if it's real estate related or not. Real estate is simple until people get involved. I love that one.
Oh yeah, it's a really good one. That could be cross-stitched on a pillow, I think, and put on my couch.
I'm telling you. And then I don't believe in luck, but I do believe in buyers who waive inspections for no reasons. It's just, I tried to print out 20 and then so just follow me and you'll get these stupid little things. The beautiful thing is my assistant does them now. So they're Megan, she'll do because I do 3 relative posts a week around this idea, right? And so on Monday morning, she'll send me the, dad joke, more with golf, and then more with real estate. So I kind of stay on my 3 words. And if I don't like them, I'll be like, let's go back to the drawing board. But it's kind of my interim, because mine are really pretty stupid, but she's a hilarious human being.
Yeah.
So I get like her level of hilarity with my level of stupidity.
Yeah.
So it just brings it just a little bit,
The ultimate.
But shout out to Megan.
I love that. Make sure you follow Andrew so you can get that light on your sometimes dismal feed every day. So
right.
Andrew, thanks so much for your time. Greensboro and beyond in North Carolina. So give them a follow, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, Anna. Thank you.
Bye, friends. Thank you.